say allegedly, has done things and allegedly participated in a lot of things that the public would not be happy to know.
He has to take responsibility for what he did as an individual. Sean is the one who pulled that gun out. Sean is the one who shot. So he has to take responsibility for that.
The explosive scandal involving Diddy and Jay-Z has sent shockwaves through the entertainment world, leaving fans, critics, and even their closest allies questioning just how far these icons have gone to maintain their empires. But here's where things get chilling. As their reputations crumble, a darker truth begins to surface. One that reveals a web of intimidation, manipulation, and behind-the-scenes power plays that feels straight out of a Hollywood thriller. How is it that Diddy, despite being locked away in a high-security facility, and Jay-Z, still walking free, both seem to be pulling strings, controlling the narrative, silencing witnesses, and rewriting the legacies they're so desperate to preserve? Let's break down the shocking truth behind the headlines.
Well, Combs is separated from the general population, right? He's with, or was with, Sam Bankman-Fried at least, and the irony there is that's someone who was granted bail, tried to tamper with witnesses, so the judge revoked his bail. So that just goes to show how these federal judges feel about witness tampering before trial.
Let's start with Diddy. You'd think being behind bars would strip him of any real influence, but that couldn't be further from the truth. According to recent court filings, Diddy has allegedly been orchestrating moves from his jail cell like a mastermind. Prosecutors claim he's been in constant contact with individuals on the outside, using unauthorized methods to reach potential witnesses and victims. The tactics? Shockingly clever. Reports suggest Diddy has been exploiting the phone accounts of other inmates to make calls, bypassing prison regulations entirely. And it doesn't stop there. He's allegedly resorted to sneaky three-way calls to skirt restrictions on who he's allowed to contact. But here's where it gets even messier. These calls are said to be filled with coded language, making it nearly impossible for authorities to figure out his real agenda, even if they're listening in. It's like a scene straight out of a crime thriller.
So yesterday, Monday, Diddy celebrated his 55th birthday, but this year was a lot different. It was no Diddy parties. It was none of that. None of that stuff. Well, happily so, I guess, right now. But anyway, so this is his first birthday behind bars.
So, what exactly is Diddy allegedly saying during these calls? Prosecutors claim he's been instructing family members and associates to dig up dirt on witnesses, intimidate them, and even offer payouts to keep them silent. One particularly damning piece of evidence, a note reportedly seized from his jail cell during a routine sweep, allegedly outlined strategies for uncovering compromising information on individuals involved in the case. Let that sink in. Diddy, from inside a detention center, still appears to have the reach, resources, and audacity to manipulate people on the outside. It's almost as if he believes his power transcends the four walls confining him. And then there are the coded threats. In one intercepted phone call, Diddy reportedly mentioned keeping the worms away from the house and holding onto a sample just in case. Chilling, right? Many speculate this is cryptic language referring to holding incriminating evidence as leverage, a classic move to ensure loyalty and silence. But that's not all. Diddy has allegedly dropped phrases like weathering a storm and needing vitamins to stay strong. If this sounds like dialogue ripped straight from a spy thriller, it's because it practically reads like one. His antics don't just stop with the calls. Diddy's legal team seems to be at their wits' end. During a recent bail hearing, his own lawyers voiced frustration, admitting he's making their job nearly impossible. Despite their advice to keep a low profile, Diddy has reportedly gone rogue, ignoring their counsel and pushing boundaries. Take, for instance, his latest social media post, a video featuring his children. On the surface, it's heartwarming, a father sharing moments with his kids. But the timing? Highly suspect. Prosecutors wasted no time calling it a blatant attempt to sway public perception and influence potential jurors. Was it genuine fatherly love or a calculated PR stunt to paint himself in a softer light? One thing's clear. Diddy isn't playing by the rules, and his legal team appears to be scrambling to clean up the fallout. This isn't just a scandal anymore. It's an unfolding drama that's as gripping as it is disturbing.
No, I'm not surprised by the ruling because, as she cited in her order, there are very serious allegations about the danger that he potentially poses to other witnesses and the public at large. There are allegations that he has, been violent with others. He's also attempted to allegedly intimidate other witnesses and still contact witnesses while incarcerated.
And speaking of fallout, let's talk about the witnesses and victims allegedly trapped in Diddy's web. The accusations paint a chilling picture of a man willing to go to extreme lengths to silence anyone who might stand against him. Prosecutors have highlighted multiple instances where witnesses were reportedly contacted and pressured, sometimes directly, sometimes through intermediaries. The tactics? A disturbing mix of financial incentives and veiled threats. Some individuals were allegedly offered large payouts to provide favorable testimony or simply keep quiet, while others faced intimidation that left them fearing for their safety. But here's where it gets even darker. Court filings reveal that Diddy reportedly instructed his associates to make certain witnesses disappear from the equation altogether. Think about that, disappear. It's a detail that feels ripped straight from a crime novel, but prosecutors claim it's all too real. With allegations this serious, it's no surprise the court has repeatedly denied Diddy's bail requests. Their reasoning? He's not just a flight risk. He's also seen as a clear danger to the integrity of the trial. It seems that even from behind bars, Diddy's alleged influence continues to cast a long and terrifying shadow.
At the courthouse in Lower Manhattan, the judge ordering the prosecution to turn over its findings from a jail cell raid, Diddy's jail cell, just yesterday. What were the contents of those raids?
Well, apparently, according to the defense, they're legal documents. The government's saying no, on the contrary, they're just some handwritten notes and a calendar.
Now here's where things get even more complicated. While Diddy orchestrates his defense from behind bars, what about Jay-Z? His name has been dragged into the same legal quagmire, with accusations piling up against him as well. A civil lawsuit, filed by an anonymous woman, has accused Jay-Z of being complicit in some of the most shocking allegations to surface yet. The lawsuit claims that he and Diddy were involved in a horrifying incident over 2 decades ago, a claim that has sent shockwaves through their fanbase and beyond. Jay-Z, for his part, has vehemently denied the allegations. But here's the problem. His response hasn't exactly calmed the growing storm. By urging the accuser to file criminal charges instead of a civil suit, Jay-Z's statement has sparked even more controversy. Critics have accused him of deflecting responsibility and attempting to discredit the victim, a move that's only added fuel to an already raging fire. Whether it's a calculated legal defense or genuine disbelief, one thing is clear. The backlash surrounding Jay-Z is gaining momentum, and the court of public opinion is proving just as relentless as the legal system.
This morning, rap mogul Jay-Z is denying allegations he assaulted a 13-year-old girl alongside rapper Sean Diddy Combs. That civil lawsuit filed against Combs in October was amended Sunday to include Jay-Z. The accuser, identified only as Jane Doe, says she was assaulted by both men.
And let's not overlook the timing of all this. Jay-Z's addition to the lawsuit came after months of swirling speculation about his connection to Diddy's legal troubles. Some have suggested that the two moguls, once seen as friendly rivals, might now be entangled in a mutual defense strategy. Could Jay-Z be quietly backing Diddy's efforts to control the narrative? Or is he desperately trying to distance himself from the scandal altogether? Either way, his involvement has cast a dark shadow over his otherwise pristine public image. For years, Jay-Z has carefully cultivated his reputation as an untouchable icon, but now, these allegations are raising unsettling questions. How deep does this scandal go, and what role, if any, has Jay-Z really played? As the storm intensifies, the answers remain unclear, but one thing's certain: the fallout is far from over.
During statement, Jay-Z accuses Jane Doe's attorney of trying to blackmail him. He said further, quote, "These allegations are so heinous in nature that I implore you to file a criminal complaint, not a civil one. Whomever would commit such a crime against a minor should be locked away. Would you not agree?"
What's particularly striking is how both men, despite their vastly different circumstances, appear to be united by a common thread: their alleged use of power and influence to manipulate those around them. For Diddy, it's about maintaining control from within the walls of a detention center, using every trick in the book to bend the system to his will. For Jay-Z, it's about navigating the court of public opinion, where his every move is dissected under a magnifying glass. Together, they serve as a case study in just how far-reaching the influence of high-profile figures can be, even when they're facing the most serious of allegations. But here's the real question. How has all of this impacted the people at the center of it? The witnesses and victims? The emotional and psychological toll cannot be overstated. Imagine the sheer courage it takes to step forward with allegations against two of the most powerful figures in entertainment, knowing full well the scrutiny, backlash, and threats that will inevitably follow. And yet, despite the alleged pressure tactics, some have chosen to speak out, determined to see justice served. Their bravery in the face of such overwhelming odds is a powerful testament to the resilience of the human spirit. At the same time, it sheds a sobering light on the darker side of celebrity culture, where power and influence can blur the lines between accountability and impunity.
He, of course, is more than annoyed, would be an understatement.
Yeah.
He has a family and he has a lot to protect, including his brand. But to the extent that he's saying, hey, come after me criminally, that could be likely. Why do I say that? Because in New York, and what's alleged in this complaint is forcible compulsion. What that means in English is that it's saying that he held her.
As this saga unfolds, one can't help but wonder, will the truth finally come to light, or will the immense influence of these two moguls continue to cloud the pursuit of justice? Only time will tell. But one thing is certain, this story is far from over. As the court battles rage on, the world will be watching, waiting to see whether Diddy and Jay-Z will manage to escape the consequences of their alleged actions, or if this marks the beginning of the end for their reign at the top of the entertainment world. In the end, the stakes couldn't be higher, not just for these powerful figures, but for the very integrity of justice itself.
That, of course, the allegation is that Mr. Combs did the same thing. And so if those facts are actually accurate, it would require an investigation by prosecutors. And if true, right, you could pursue it criminally.
With Diddy's legal team scrambling to contain him and Jay-Z's name becoming increasingly entangled in the controversy, the stage is set for a high-stakes showdown that could redefine the legacies of both men. But how did it come to this? To truly understand the depths of their current predicament, we need to step back and explore the rise of these two titans, their journey to fame, the choices they made, and the dark secrets that may have been lurking beneath the surface all along. The rise of Diddy and Jay-Z is a story rooted in ambition, talent, and an unrelenting hunger for success. Two young men from New York, each determined to escape their tough beginnings and carve out a place in the world. Diddy, with his larger-than-life personality and unmatched ability to promote himself, and Jay-Z, with his razor-sharp wit and unparalleled lyrical skill, seemed destined to shape the music industry. But as dazzling as their success may appear, it's come with a cost, a shadow that's grown darker with every new revelation of their alleged exploits and the questionable tactics they've used to climb to the top.
If they did in fact occur, their argument is more than likely going to be that this activity was consensual, that this person was a willing participant, and not only that, but that these individuals assumed the risk of being present at those parties, of engaging and voluntarily engaging in this conduct and being in those spaces, consuming alcohol and things of that nature. So certainly.
Let's rewind to the early days, when the world was just starting to take notice of these two powerhouses. Diddy, then known as Sean Puffy Combs, was already making waves as a young intern at Uptown Records. Even then, he was recognized for his relentless drive. Stories from those who worked with him paint a picture of someone who would stop at nothing to get ahead. Diddy wasn't just ambitious, he was strategic, always calculating his next move. When he launched Bad Boy Entertainment in 1993, it became clear that he wasn't merely trying to play the game, he was determined to rewrite the rules. Meanwhile, Jay-Z, born Sean Jay-Z Carter, was honing his craft as a street poet turned rapper. Unlike Diddy, Jay-Z's rise was slower and more methodical. He didn't burst onto the scene with flashy parties or big-name cosigns. Instead, he built his reputation brick by brick, releasing his debut album Reasonable Doubt in 1996 under his own label, Rockefeller Records. The album was a critical success and set the tone for a career defined by both lyrical brilliance and ruthless business acumen.
It sounds like there was probably a lot of hidden cameras as well. Is that what is being talked about?
Yes, this was actually in his Atlanta home, at a home he had in Atlanta at one point. And it does seem that the person isn't like looking into the video, so it's, to me, doesn't seem like that person knows they're being videotaped. It doesn't seem like they're active participant in the videotape.
The two men quickly became fixtures in the hip-hop world, but their paths didn't truly cross until the late 90s. By then, Diddy had already solidified his status as a mogul, with Bad Boy dominating the charts thanks to artists like the Notorious B.I.G., Faith Evans, and 112. Jay-Z, on the other hand, was emerging as a formidable force, both as a rapper and a savvy businessman. Their friendship, fueled by mutual respect and a shared understanding of the hustle, was cemented during this time. But like any relationship built in the high-stakes world of entertainment, it wasn't without its complications. Diddy and Jay-Z's friendship was often described as a form of friendly rivalry. Behind the scenes, there was always an undercurrent of competition. Both men wanted to be seen as the undisputed king of New York, the ultimate symbol of success in hip-hop. While they collaborated on projects and supported each other publicly, whispers of tension persisted. Some claimed Diddy resented Jay-Z's growing influence, especially as Rockefeller began to rival Bad Boy's dominance. Others suggested that Jay-Z viewed Diddy as more of a showman than a true artist, someone who relied on flash and spectacle rather than substance.
Anybody familiar with the old Houdini? So what Diddy's lawyers are trying to do is pull a Houdini. They're trying to say that the evidence that they have is different. Well, it's not different. The video that the entire world has seen is not going to go away. The fact that he had parties that were freak-offs is not going away. So it's just a question of whether or not Diddy is able to make bonds.
Despite these rumors, the two men maintained a united front, often appearing together at industry events and even collaborating on music. But their bond was tested in 1999 when both found themselves entangled in legal troubles. That year, Diddy was arrested following a nightclub incident, while Jay-Z faced his own charges after an altercation with a record executive. Though the incidents were unrelated, they marked a turning point for both men. Suddenly, their carefully crafted images were at risk, and they were forced to confront the reality that their actions had consequences. For Diddy, the fallout was immediate. Though he was ultimately acquitted, the scandal tarnished his reputation and raised questions about the culture of excess and recklessness that had long defined Bad Boy at the time. Jay-Z, on the other hand, managed to escape relatively unscathed, thanks in part to his legal team and his skill in spinning the narrative in his favor. But 1999 served as a wake-up call for both men, reminding them that the same system that elevated them to stardom could just as easily bring them down.
That's it. If it is privilege, of course they won't. But if it really is what the prosecution says, that has nothing to do with the case, or even worse, it's actually evidence of witness tampering, because we all know the attorney-client privilege, there's a crime fraud exception. You can't use your lawyer to perpetuate a future or continuing fraud or crime. So if the documents are what the government says they are, they're going to get them again. And again, it's just going to be a matter of days, because I don't expect.
In the years that followed, both Diddy and Jay-Z continued to expand their empires. Diddy delved into fashion, launching his Sean John clothing line, while Jay-Z diversified his portfolio with ventures in sports management, streaming services, and real estate. Their influence extended far beyond music, becoming symbols of what was possible for Black entrepreneurs in America. But with great power came great scrutiny, and as their profiles grew, so did the persistent rumors about their behavior behind the scenes. One of the most recurrent allegations against both men is their alleged exploitation of those around them. For Diddy, this often took the form of controlling his artists and maintaining an iron grip on Bad Boy's operations. Numerous former Bad Boy artists have come forward over the years with claims of unfair contracts, unpaid royalties, and even psychological manipulation. Mase, one of the label's most successful acts, famously accused Diddy of refusing to sell him back the rights to his music, despite Mase offering a substantial sum. He's not alone. Artists like Faith Evans, Total, and 112 have all hinted at feeling undervalued and underpaid during their time at Bad Boy.
They probably didn't see these notes, and they never will.
But if you're Diddy, don't you want your notes back?
Yeah.
If you've spent so many hours gathering evidence for your side or, strategy or whatever, for me, I'd be oh no, please don't destroy, please return.
Jay-Z, while not as openly combative with his artists, has faced his own share of criticism. His feud with former Rockefeller co-founder Dame Dash is one of the most infamous splits in hip-hop history. Once seen as inseparable partners, the two had a falling out in the early 2000s, with Dash accusing Jay-Z of betrayal and greed. The breakup of Rockefeller was a messy public affair, leaving many to question if Jay-Z's ambition had come at the expense of his loyalty. Perhaps the most shocking allegations against both Diddy and Jay-Z, however, are those that have emerged in recent years. Both men have been accused of using their power and influence to manipulate and intimidate others, particularly women. Though these allegations remain unproven, they have cast a dark shadow over their legacies and raised serious questions about the culture of the music industry. For Diddy, the claims are particularly damning given his current legal troubles and the growing number of people willing to speak out against him. Jay-Z, while not facing the same level of scrutiny, has also had his name dragged into the mix, with some suggesting that his silence on certain issues speaks volumes.
I'm not surprised with the decision. I'm surprised that Judge Subramanian entertained it. He held a 2-hour hearing, which we were covering live, and he issued a 5-page written order. Most other judges, including the 2 previous judges, to consider this issue, summarily denied the bail motion. I think a lot of it stems from Judge Subramanian being a newer judge. This is a Biden appointee. He has a civil background.
The accusations have also shed light on the complex dynamic between the two men. While they've always been perceived as equals, it's clear that their relationship runs much deeper than it appears. Some insiders claim that Diddy has long resented Jay-Z's ability to remain relatively unscathed by the scandals and controversies that have plagued his own career. Others believe that Jay-Z has deliberately distanced himself from Diddy in recent years, wary of being associated with the mogul's increasingly tarnished reputation.
I agree, and the risk of flight was always going to be a tough argument for the government because obviously Combs voluntarily came to New York. He surrendered his passports through his lawyer. He could have fled after the March raids of his Miami and Los Angeles homes, but he didn't. He has access to 2 private jets. I think it was a tougher argument. I know the government made the argument, but clearly the best argument was the dangerousness and the witness tampering. They had much more evidence.
What's undeniable is the profound impact Diddy and Jay-Z have had on the music industry and beyond. Their rise to the top stands as a testament to their talent, ambition, and relentless drive. However, it's also a cautionary tale about the cost of success and the lengths some are willing to go to maintain their power. As the allegations against them continue to unfold, the world is left to question how much of their success was built on talent and hard work, and how much was the result of manipulation and exploitation. As this saga continues, one thing is clear: Diddy and Jay-Z's legacies are far more complicated than anyone could have anticipated. Their story isn't just about fame and fortune. It's about power, control, and the darker side of the music industry. While their fans may continue to celebrate their achievements, the growing number of voices speaking out against them serves as a stark reminder that even the most untouchable figures can be held accountable. The real question now is how they will navigate this storm. Will they emerge unscathed, or will this be the moment that defines their careers and their lives? Only time will tell. As the world watches, one thing is certain: the story of Diddy and Jay-Z is far from over. So, what do you think? Are Diddy and Jay-Z truly untouchable, or is this the beginning of the end for their reign at the top? How far will they go to maintain their power and influence? Leave your thoughts in the comments below, and let's keep the conversation going. Until next time, stay tuned for more celebrity gossip and insider details. Goodbye for now.